Donald Trump responded from his favorite megaphone, Twitter, slamming those remarks, saying no way the president would have beaten him. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman from California, John Garamendi. Congressman Garamendi, nice to see you. President Obama was also obviously implicit in that. It was a criticism of Hillary Clinton's campaign acting, in effect, too cautiously out of a mistaken belief that they were going to win this election. What do you make of the president's remarks, effectively doubling down on this idea that his progressive plans, his vision is one that America still widely embraces? And more broadly, what do Democrats have to do to win back those voters who turned to Donald Trump in this past election?
Well, it's very interesting. The president said he would take a majority of the Americans. Well, in fact, the Democrats did take a majority of the Americans in this election. About 3 million more Americans voted for the Democratic ticket.
But we all agree, as does Donald Trump, that had the election gone differently and that if that were the system, Donald Trump would have gone to the big major cities and campaigned differently. So that put aside, nobody's complaining that Donald Trump won this thing. So what do the Democrats have to do differently?
Well, we have to continue to represent the working men and women of America, the families that are struggling. And in fact, we have been doing that. If you take a look at the Affordable Care Act, which has provided 20 million Americans with health insurance, not without troubles along the way, certainly a program that needs to change, one in which for the last 8 years, Republicans have been trying to simply destroy it rather than make it work better. Beyond that, the jobs have come back to America. Remember where we started 8 years ago, in the worst recession since the Great Depression. Millions upon millions of Americans had lost their jobs, lost their homes. It's been a slow return. But nonetheless, we've dug ourselves out of the deepest trench since the 1930s. And we have seen manufacturing return to America over the last 8 years. There has been a slow build-up, and we can do more. The Make It in America agenda, which I and other Democrats have been pushing for the last several years, really does work. Spend our tax money on American-made equipment.
Let's get right to your committee, Armed Services Committee. Donald Trump has tweeted recently that the U.S. needs to strengthen our nuclear capability. He told our colleague at MSNBC, Mika Brzezinski, in a conversation off-air, quote, "Let it be an arms race." So you're on that Armed Services Committee. What do you make of that, and what are the potential consequences of that position?
It's scary as hell what he's talking about. And to do nuclear policy on Twitter, 140 characters, don't do that. Simply don't do that. This is really important stuff. When you start dealing with nuclear weapons, you need to be very, very careful. And the last thing this world needs is a continuation and an expansion of the current nuclear arms race, which is well underway now. America is going to spend $1 trillion rebuilding its entire nuclear enterprise. All of the missiles, all of the submarines, all of the airplanes, all of the cruise missiles, the ICBMs in the ground. $1 trillion will be spent, and the technology and the nature of this is very different than the old Cold War. We're dealing with stealth technology, new accurate missiles, new accurate bombs. It's a very serious situation. And when Trump apparently wants to ramp it up even more than we are doing, and Russia and China are doing the same things, there is, in fact, a nuclear arms race underway right now. We need to ramp that down, not ramp it up.
Congressman John Garamendi of California. Congressman, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Peter.
Up next, ripple effects, what the tug of war at the United Nations might mean for the greater push for Middle East peace.